Las Vegas, famous, fabulous playground of the West. A wide open town that never goes to sleep.
I don't care if the sun don't shine. I do my drinking in the evening time when I'm in Las Vegas.
Get ready for 1 full hour of vintage Vegas. This is Vegas Knights Tales, the radio show. These 3 dealers have spent their time in the gaming pits, and now they're talking. Growing up in 1950s Vegas, breaking into the mob-run casinos in the 1970s, they'll tell what it was really like in the golden era. The art of dice and cards, mobsters and muscles, starlets and harlots. The real story from guys who lived it. Now, let's bring on the hosts. Here's Benny Baccarat, Danny Craps, and Jimmy Bags.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is the Vegas Knights Tales you're listening to. Myself, Benny Baccarat, here with Danny Craps and Jimmy Bags. Just a few shout-outs I would like to say. Dennis down there, Elliott's Auto, like to say hi to him. And Javier Del Prado, it's still always a pleasure getting to see him every now and then. And Danny, you got some shout-outs you'd like to...
Well, of course, I'd like to say hello to my little strudel cake, Alma. She's busy working hard to help me retire, and I think that's great. Only in America. And my lovely daughter, Christina, I hope she's getting a mani-pedi right now. It's a great thing to do.
Well, that helps your retirement.
That does help your retirement.
Hi, and I'm Jimmy Bags, and I want to say hello. And it's nice to be with you again. It's starting to be really fun. I'm starting to really get into it. And it's really a blast, and I appreciate all you listeners, and I hope you keep listening to us, because it's only going to get better.
That's true.
It's only going to get better, and we have some, we're going to have a mystery guest every month, and we're going to do some trivia, and we want you all on board.
Oh, and a lot of other surprises.
It sure is. We're going to talk about it all. And if you want to call in and ask us any questions, it's 483-4444. If you want to throw anything at us.
That's true. You know,
we'd love to answer questions.
Funny thing about last night, Jimmy, out running around and everything, I knew where Danny was. I definitely knew where he was, but where were you?
Well, I think I was at somebody was leading me into the museum. It was the old courthouse. It started giving me bad vibes.
No.
Hey.
The post office.
That was the post office.
That was your court date, Jimmy.
That was your court date.
That was your court date when you went to the courthouse, Jimmy.
I got flashbacks that I was standing there.
Yeah, was you taking the mail or delivering it?
I was getting it.
Whose stamp of approval did you get, Jimmy?
I'm not saying.
Yeah. What were you doing down there besides...
Standing in front of the judge. That's what I thought.
Was it a long verdict? No, what was you... Oh, go ahead.
Well, I'd like to find out, Danny, where I think we found you somewhere on the 3rd floor.
I was on the 3rd floor. I saw a plaque in my honor at the Mob Museum, as well as Benny Baccarat and Jimmy Bags, but mine was over by the men's room. It says Danny Craps was here.
They got one by mine, says still looking.
Still looking.
They got one by mine, never found it.
Never found it.
I think lost and found.
I've been lost and found since '70.
So who did we see over there?
Tell him,
night?
Jimmy. Who did we see? You got a.
We saw Mo Dilitz's daughter, and I know Mo. I used to talk to him at the Sundance and never knew who he was. And people would always come up to me and say, "Why does that guy talk to you?" I said, "Well, I don't know. Maybe he likes me." I didn't even know who he was. And they go, well, "Where do you know Mo from?" And I went, "I don't know. I talk to Mo all the time." Then I find out from somebody else that it's Mo Dalitz, man. And I said,
Mo was
maybe he just knows talent when he sees it,
Well, hey, Jimmy, there's no doubt.
Maybe he knew me from something else. I run into Oscar Goodman at the San Gennaro feast, and he come up and shook my hand and put his arm around me and said, "Hey, I haven't seen you in a while." And my wife went, "Where does he know you from?" And I don't even remember.
Well, that's because you bought him a bottle of wine.
Maybe is that it? Maybe it's because I was on the moods for 10 years. I don't remember much of it.
I think your bartending skills came into play, and you made him a martini.
That's right.
That's true.
Maybe that's why
he loves martinis.
He's a good guy. I like him.
Yeah.
He's a good guy.
But that's. Let me tell you something. Going to the first of all, walking into the old post office where we all used to get our mail when we were little with our parents, and then to see it transformed into history of Las Vegas, mob museum with the people that shaped Las Vegas, and especially Mo Dalitz, who he did a lot of positive things for Las Vegas. Tell him a few things, Pat, out there.
He built the Boulevard Mall. He did the country club, built the country club. And what I found interesting is Suzanne, his daughter, was talking about taking a walk down the Strip, and she stopped, and he had built that church right down there for people to pray. They thought he was a bad guy, but actually, he built a place for people to go and pray. So that's a real interesting thing, isn't it?
It's commendable.
For a Jewish
very
man
commendable.
to build a Christian church alone is a score.
I mean, he was one of the men that etched this town to what it is today.
That's right. He sure
so
was. They called him the Godfather of Las Vegas.
Yes.
And that is a very honorable handle to have. That's honorable, because this town has a lot of them in it, and they respect him in every way. What he said goes, man.
Well, he put us all to work. I mean,
right.
he's one of the fathers that actually gave a lot of jobs out.
That's right.
This, put everybody
He
to
was
work.
compassionate, and he had two sides, you know. He's like, he was a mob guy on one side, and
But he was
a regular guy on the other, and he was compassionate and giving, and
he was a businessman, and he was also able to bridge different cultures in order to achieve the success that he envisioned, which he did achieve. He was just one of those kind of guys that could get people to work together, no matter their ethnic background.
you know really why they built Sunrise Hospital, don't you?
Well, first he did build Sunrise Hospital.
Yeah,
Mo
you know
Day,
why.
let's tell everybody that out there. He did.
You know why?
To help people?
They used to fly people in here. They used to fly other mobsters in here on a plane, on a stretcher, and take them on an ambulance from the plane to Sunrise Mountain. No cops, no heat, no nothing. When they got to Sunrise Hospital, they took care of business in a private room. I mean, that's what really the basis of that. I'm sure he did it out of goodness of his heart too, but they used it as their advantage, of course.
Is this where
Why not?
some of them guys were kind of had a few holes in them?
No, not here. They never shot nobody here. In the old days, I mean, that we know of.
Well, I mean, I know that they dug a few holes out there because, I mean, I when we used to go out there prospecting, we'd run across some interesting landscape.
Oh yeah, a lot of rocks misplaced.
I didn't know. I buried a pound of weed out there one day. Went back the next day to get it and couldn't find it. How about that one?
That is a sad tale.
Sad, isn't it?
That is a
I combed
sad
that
tale.
desert, man.
Yeah.
That was a lesson hard learned.
That is a lesson hard learned there. That's for sure.
Then Steve Aso, my boy Steve. God bless you, Steve. He's with the angels in heaven now.
Yeah, and he don't have to find anything anymore.
It's there.
He's already as high as he can get.
He's up there.
But tell everybody how much you enjoyed listening to Suzanne Dalitz talk about when they lived on the Desert Inn golf course, where all the top executives, the owners, they all lived in the DI golf course back then. That
they did. She hit on one certain thing that it sort of set me back. She went into the Wynn Hotel where the DI used to be. Said she went out back and she found a bunch of flowers, and she happened to be standing in the flower bed looking around. And, of course, security guard come out there and asked him what she was doing. She said she sort of seemed pretty funny standing in a bunch of flowers. And he asked him, she said, well, I used to live there. And he told her, he said, well, a lot of people used to live here. She never did tell him who she was or anything like that. She said that she ended up just moseying off. But, that sort of takes you back to trying to find your home, and it's not there. Everything's been changed. New golf courses in, new roads, all that stuff. So, it's an eye-opener. But it was very, very pleasurable to listen to her.
I think it might be on the Dog Leg Left course.
It could be right on the dog.
Right near the rough.
Near the rough.
You guys are golfers, right?
I'm what they call a hacker. I mean, I look like I'm chopping wood when I'm in the sand.
Is that the noise I hear from my house?
That Patton's a good golfer, though.
Yeah,
he won't give me no
lessons.
more.
He won't give you no
Dave's
lessons.
He hung up the putt.
I hung my irons up.
He was a scratch guy, scratch guy.
I don't think I
a
really
good
got
game if you're
quite
any
the
good.
scratch. I had a lot of fun with it, though.
Well, no, I
Tell you
thought
that.
I was talking when you missed that putt on the green. You were scratching
Yeah,
your head as
scratching.
to what happened.
I definitely did a lot of that.
You make a
And
few
I was
holes in one.
paying.
You made a few holes in one.
Oh, I made a few holes in
Oh,
one.
how about you, Jimmy?
Never.
Huh?
Never.
But I always had to pay to get them holes in ones.
Oh my goodness! I always ended up
just
in
have
the
fun.
rough.
I learned one thing about golf. Is when I don't smoke, when I smoke a joint and go out there and play, I can't play. I mean, but when I don't, it seems like I quit for like a year and I was getting real good at the game. So now I'm relating some of that to that. You know, I mean, really.
It's unbelievable,
How
especially.
it takes so long. Yeah, I'm 68 years old and I wasn't supposed to say that. You know,
no,
figuring
but
out
you
that
did.
you don't get high. But other guys are drink and get drunk and play good. I don't get it. You know,
it's a strange, wacky
it
game.
is. That is a mind game. Man.
It is. It is.
That really is nuts.
So,
I got a love-hate relationship.
Jimmy, tell us a little bit about what it was like for you breaking in downtown.
Oh my God! I broke in at the El Cortez in 1968. The day I turned 21, my mother took me in there. She knew the pit shift manager. His name was Tiger Novak, and she says, "Tiger, put him to work." And they started me out as a shill, which is a person that sits on the player side of the table, and you act like you're playing. I mean, you do certain things to their rules, and then it's supposed to draw other people to the game. And then once they filled up, or a few people, you got up and took a walk. And then eventually they put you back dealing, and gradually you learn. In a year, I learned 21 roulette and craps. Then I went to the International, opened it. 10 years just dealing 21. And
Well, how long did you spend downtown?
a year. I was only there a
You were
year
there
and
a
got
year.
lucky with that job when they opened that International. I happened to get lucky and got the guy said he could get me in there. I didn't believe him, but he did. And man, it was sweet for the 10 years I was there.
I
One
think
of the best jobs
everybody,
I ever had.
everybody had to do some time downtown,
Yeah,
didn't they?
it was not anymore.
No,
They don't
not
even have to
anymore.
speak English. I mean, but in the old days it was different. You know, we had to do at least a year downtown. Didn't even apply on the strip. They didn't even want to talk to you. You know, I mean, now they break you in out there.
That's true.
You know, it's
Well,
different.
it's a different world, but let's talk about that golden era. When I went downtown, I was already working uptown as a busboy at the Dunes Hotel, so I was used to that strip culture, just the attitude. When I went downtown, it was a totally different thing. It was a lot of those old timers that had the real old school traditions, you know, where they gave you the business when you were trying to make payoffs and you were nervous about it. They were hacking you pretty good verbally.
Like the wheel crank and the wax for the puck on the crap table.
Oh,
They send
yeah.
you for the wax.
Yeah.
How about
The wax for the crap
for
table.
the puck?
Oh,
so
for
it
the puck.
slide easy.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's just like-
Then them dealers go looking for it.
yeah, I had to go and look for the stick rack.
Yeah, I just come back 6 hours later and told them I've been all over. I couldn't find it.
That's the way we all did.
You want to play games? I can play them.
We're going to take a quick break, and we're going to come back after a couple minutes to let you absorb all the things that have been going on.
Important stuff
Yeah,
we've been
we're
saying.
gonna we got a great show ahead of us.
Oh my goodness, this is only tip of the iceberg. Hey Norma, how you doing out there?
Norma, good to be talking to you too, honey, on air. Nice.
She's a Norma E. Claire.
Yeah, and Jeanette, if you get this, call 483-4444.
Now, let's return to the Vegas Nights.
Welcome back, Vegas. Welcome back. Glad to have you back. I hope you got to go and do what you had to do in 2 minutes. If it's any longer, sorry. Getting back to the subject of when I broke in, just like Jimmy Baggs, I started off at the Fremont Hotel as a shill, $13.80 a shift, which was for 8 hours work. And the downtime, you would sit in the Keno Lounge, and all the shills had to start on graveyard. So naturally, you're young, so you're burning the candle at both ends. And they had a shill boss. He was a big, heavy-set guy, about a 400-pounder. Today, he could go eat at the Heart Attack Grill for free. But when you'd fall asleep, he was sadistic. He'd come up behind you, and with his big hand, he would hit the back of the chair so hard that you would either fall off of it, fall over it, have a semi-heart attack, and he would just laugh. Sleep on your own time, and he'd just give that little laugh.
Yeah.
And you'd wanted to hit him, but it wouldn't even hurt him. There was so much mush on him. And so you would go, just like Jimmy says, they gave me a white chip, and you'd go, and wherever they told you they wanted you to shill blackjack or craps, you'd go. But one thing they did hate is if you were shooting the dice to get a game going, and you started to get hot with the dice, they would look at you like they want to kill you. Yeah. They want to kill. Hey, I mean, you'd have to look down, and all of a sudden people are making money and patting you on the back, and the bosses are just going crazy. I mean, you know what I mean, Pat.
Burning holes in your head is what they're doing. Don't ever look up when when you're shooting a hand.
The harder I tried for 7, I shot him for 22 minutes, and I remember everybody gave me a hand, and then the boss says,
"Get out!
Don't come back and shoot dice the rest of the week.
Yeah.
You go stay in 21 and shill. You're too good. You're too good." I said, "Hey, what can I tell you? You know."
That's just the way it was back down then. You know. I mean, they, like I said, they give you a stack of chips, and you had to go out there, and you're lucky if you made, $5-6 a night in tokes as a shill. You're lucky if they give you that.
We didn't make squat.
You didn't make squat. I did.
No.
I broke in at the California Club. So doing that, I shilled, of course, on Graveyard. I had to go through all the route downtown. But after you started learning and everything, it was, they put you on a game, you just lock up. I mean, you're getting bets right and right and left. People are yelling at you. Yeah. Bosses are yelling at you.
I know the feeling.
They're kicking you in the back of the shins.
You froze up like a virgin on prom night.
Well, sure. I mean, it's just the way it is. They're screaming, yelling at you, and you forgot everything you learned.
Well, sure.
At home.
I remember I took that learning craps. We used to take it for granted because we knew the owner of the place. And we were breaking guys. We were young guys. So I remember once there was 3 of us on the crap table. The box man we knew, but he was real square. And Mike, well, maybe I better not say that, but the owner standing behind us watching. Graveyard shift. We're all laughing. A guy come in who was married to a well-known star now. He come in, and he used to be kind of a wild guy. He was from California, and he used to bring us. He come in with this LSD, this dot stuff, and we dropped it dealing. We didn't think nothing of it. We're dealing. All of a sudden, every time the dice flow by me, the dice winks at me. You know what I mean? The one die, It'd give me a wink, and I went, really? And we're fumbling around, and the box man's like, are you guys crazy or what? Because we were a mess. Finally, Mike comes up and says, get him off. Get him out of here. Get him off the game. So getting off the game, Mike says, what's wrong, man? And we told him, and he said, go home. So we come back the next day, and everything was kosher, But that's just one of the stories, man.
Yeah,
I mean, we used to do that. It was crazy. That first year in that business was like, it opened my eyes up to a whole new world, even though before that I was a little wild, too. I mean, it wasn't as if I was a virgin to all the things
You were a
life,
virgin?
But at one time.
When you were born?
Shit, I don't know. I don't even remember.
Yeah, that's crazy. All that breaking in
Oh,
stuff.
yeah.
I broke in at home. Like I said, we had the makeshift crap table at home, and they sit there and taught me the game at home.
Well,
Like
we
I said,
sort of
you
all had an
learn.
experience first
Sure.
before we went in.
You mean
our
breaking
parents were there.
breaking and entering? Oh, that's
it.
another case.
That's another gig. But our parents were in it, so they kind of like, and you know how you always want to be what your father was, so he was a dealer. I want to be
Sure.
a dealer. I should
I
have
thought you were real
I
good
thought I
until
was
you got
the
on the
best.
game.
That's right. I froze, like you said. I froze. I was
Oh, okay.
until I got the groove, and then I started kind of blending in. It was fine,
Oh yeah,
I get
you
butterfly.
start getting it down. But I dealt. They had me teaching me dollar game. Now when I got
That's so cool.
downtown, it was
Yeah.
all 25 cents.
That's right.
Bird game, what they call a bird
That's
game.
right. And they know the players know the payoffs better than you.
Yeah.
So you better not make a mistake.
The only birds was us trying to deal
That's right.
out of.
They were helping us. They used to help us.
How about when they'd make comments like, "Man, where did you get those mitts? Where did you get those mitts?"
Where's them gloves come
Yeah,
from?
all right.
You
You,
know?
got nice hands, but which side do they go on? You're like
One's
backwards.
upside down.
Really?
I mean, you'd be shaking because, like, my dad was a crab dealer, and he would show me stuff, and it was a very difficult game to learn because you had to learn not just how to deal, but you had to learn to, listen and realize that my dad said, now look, you're going to get the business. And I said, what's the business? He said, they're going to do everything they can to rattle you because that's just the way it is. They want to know if you got what it takes to hang in there when you get irate customers and the game gets out of control. Are you going to be able to handle it? Because there's a lot of people that are playing on the game. When a hand shows, they're all talking to you at once. They're all making different bets, and you have to be able to be in tune with each and every one of them, right?
That's exactly right.
And they don't. And if you do hesitate for one split second,
they got you.
None of them think you're making their payoffs right, and then they all start talking to you at once, thinking they're not getting paid off right.
Where's my
money? You
money?
have to be thick-skinned. That's right. That's a tough game. I have no trouble with that game.
Yeah, plus they're all taking shots at you.
Exactly.
And you're having the box man in the middle trying to sort everything out. So it was definitely a difficult time at the time because, see, when we broke in, they had clay chips. Compared to now, they had clay chips and they had steel, which was silver. And silver that's hard to deal if you've never dealt it because it weighs a ton. Trying to cut out people throwing in these dollars, hitting you in the hands, it hurt a little bit. So it was. You had all that going on, plus people screaming, yelling, bosses kicking you in the back.
And you're supposed to be calm and collect.
Yeah, supposed to be calm.
And don't ever talk back to your boxman because they all look like they were mad, like they heard they won the lotto, but it really was just a hoax.
Well, they had the power to fire you. The
boxman, yeah.
You listened to everything he said.
If you didn't like something, he'd tell you, get this kid off the game.
Get him off the game.
Get him off the game and go see the boss right now.
That's where it's different. Now you're in human resources.
Yeah.
With an interpreter.
There was no human resources back then.
No,
you either did your job or you
got a pink slip and out the door.
Or hit the door.
Yeah.
So don't let it hit you behind
ifs, ands, or buts.
Not to get off the subject of that, but there was one funny thing that Suzanne Dalitz had said that got Jimmy Baggs just about laughing on the floor.
Yeah.
When she said, after telling a little bit of the story of her mom and dad, they said that she said, after my mom left my dad, we went to Acapulco, Mexico. After the divorce was final, my mother's first boyfriend happened to be a yo-yo champion from Mexico. I almost fell off. I almost fell off my chair. I mean, I've been called a yo-yo many times, and there was no strings attached.
Really? I mean, I about died when she said that. She
brought
went
Jimmy
from
back to the one-arm guy.
I got to thinking doing a yo-yo with the one-armed acrobat. I mean, really.
Oh, Carl Carsoni?
That's brutal. And then
followed by
never mind. I'm weird when it comes to stuff like that.
Well, I understand, but listen, I'm Latin, and to hear that there was a Mexican yo-yo champion, I got to tell you, I was in shock. I was in shock. I mean, I can understand.
What was the name of the yo-yo to Donkey?
Danny, did you ever play with your yo-yos?
Well,
he's still playing with that yo-yo.
You mean, did I walk the dog? Did I walk the dog? I walked the dog. Did I go around the world a couple times?
Yeah, I went around the world in 80
Yeah,
days.
but I wasn't a real yo-yo champion. A couple times it hit me in the head, and
he was a disco Dan, though. Remember that?
Yeah, but I was a yo-yo at that too.
I heard you were pretty good.
Well, I was. I used to go to the Pussycat A-Go-Go. I had a fake ID. I was 17. My mission was to meet older women that wouldn't mind me playing with a yo-yo, or playing with a yo-yo, I should say.
Yeah, you should say. Yeah, I remember downtown standing on the game. We had a character come up, Benny the Bite. Have you ever heard of him? Benny the Bite. That's why they called him that.
Benny the Bite.
Yeah, Benny the Bite.
Was it over or under?
Yeah, it was whatever he bit. And he did. He'd 7 out, and he'd take a big hunk out of the railing around the layout. He'd just reach down there and just bite a big chunk out of it, spit it out, and scream at us. You're just sort of looking around like, well, this is
He must have had some strong teeth.
He had strong teeth, all right. I thought everybody knew him.
You think he might have been a donkey in his last life?
He could have been.
They can really bite you. They can put the clamp on you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He put the clamp on that railing.
The first 3 months I was
That's
a dealer, I almost got killed.
Yeah,
The guy tried to stab me the first 3 months.
Where were you?
The El Cortez. I'm dealing 21. I was dealing to him. And I guess he got mad because he was losing. I was new in it. I didn't know, you know. I mean, I was just a lucky dealer, you know. And I kept dealing to him, and he kept losing. And he called me a fag or something. And I said something back to him. I said, you might as well pick your chips up now, because you ain't never going to win another hand. Well, the guy goes outside and comes back in from behind me and tried to stab me. The floor man knocked him out of the way.
Oh, you wouldn't be here.
Or I wouldn't be here, man. I mean,
relating all this.
3 months into it,
Whoa.
and I almost get killed, you know.
Oh yeah, there was
In
some
them days.
danger back in those days, and people were, you know, at least the executives, bosses, a lot of them were packing.
Oh, they were packing. Either
Well,
that or
they
they
just
had
beat
mighty
this guy
pointed
up.
shoes.
They just beat this guy. We just, you know, called the
Well,
police.
how many times you had chips thrown in your face
Not many.
downtown?
I
You
whooped
know,
me
I
an
mean,
ass.
people getting mad and throwing them quarters at you. You know, calling you names and running out the door.
They always
Hey,
insulted
I
me.
got to tell you the story about the bum with the buckets. Did I tell you that one? With the
But you gotta. Yeah,
Me and Mike, we're standing there standing outside the Cortez. We're talking. There was some, you know, in the middle of the night, they'd change the slot box things. You remember the cans, the metal cans where the quarters drop in them?
Sure.
They lay them out, and security come by, pick them up, put them on the thing, and walk. Well, here comes this bum guy, and he picks up 2 of these and starts running down the street with these 2 big buckets of quarters, right? And my man says, Jimmy, don't worry about it. He ain't getting too far, you know. All of a sudden, about 300 steps down the road, this guy starts withering, you know what I mean? His legs start bending, you know what I mean? And he starts hitting. And then all of a sudden he hits the dirt, you know, and he just set the buckets down and fell. And we walked up there and got the buckets and walked back in, you know what I mean? The poor guy, where was he going with the buckets?
Did he say hi, oh silver away?
He just looked up like, really? And Mike
Yeah,
said,
they're
you know how
not
much
gonna
them
go too
things
far.
weigh? They weigh about 150 pounds a piece, you know?
Would that be a heck of a workout?
Really?
What a heck of a
He's trying
workout.
to run like this, and he kept going lower and lower.
Finally just had to set him down. I give.
Too bad there wasn't videos in those days.
Oh, really? That was hilarious.
That would have been the
And he
greatest.
didn't get shook up. I said, there he goes with your money. He went not far.
Well, no, then those coins were heavy.
Yeah.
Those coins were heavy. We go ahead, Pat. You had something to say real quick.
No, I was just going to talk about Frickin' Frack. I don't know if you had
I don't remember frickin'
Which is
Frack.
who?
2 twin brothers.
Echo and Jekyll. Remember that?
Yeah, it was about the
They
same
were
thing.
distant cousins.
One would come in one door, and one would come to the other. The one guy'd run up the game, grab a handful of chips, and take off running. Everybody looking that way. His brother would come over and steal from this rail and go out that way.
Oh, that's right, frickin' Frack. I remember those two.
I used to
They
shoot-
went that way, and then
Yeah,
they went this away.
and that away.
Yeah. We used to shoot dice. Whenever the dealer would lean over to make the pass line bet, the guy would take the chips out from in front of him.
Well, I think we're taking another break.
Yeah, take
So-
a little break for the sponsors.
If you need
We'll be
oxygen
back.
after that, go get you some.
Can of Primatine.
Now, let's return to the Vegas Nights.
Welcome back to Vegas Nights Tales. Vegas, baby, Vegas. How it really was back in the 70s. Even as far back as the late 60s for me. But you know, Patton, when I was downtown, it was quite an experience. I mean, I was up at the Strip, even though I was a busboy. It was just a different class of people. It was just a different thing. It looked like everybody was in a movie. All the guys were dressed up, suave. The women were dressed to the nines. Then I went downtown, and it was a little bit different.
There's a free-for-all down there.
Oh my goodness! It was like watching Hee Haw in reverse.
Still nice.
Boy, was it ever. Yeah.
Still nice. Compared to what it is now, there ain't a comparison.
Yeah,
Remember
it
the
was,
old-
you know, at the time it was nice because we didn't know any different,
Yeah, but
you know.
it was classier.
No, I
But, you know, we used to cruise Fremont Street
Yeah,
all the time.
that's right.
Now you can't even,
No.
you can't
Can't
drive
even
down
walk
Fremont Street now.
No, you
can't
got-
even walk it.
You got to go through a gauntlet of
idiots.
kiosks,
Yeah.
and then you got to worry about the big Slotzilla up overhead.
Yeah.
You never know when some 250-pounder might drop down there from, huh?
Zip lines. They got 2 of them up there now.
They do, Slotzilla, yes.
Yeah.
I haven't tried it. I've been thinking about it. How about you, Jimmy
Never.
Bags?
I don't do things that put myself in that situation.
Well, it's not like base jumping. I can
Well,
tell you
I'll
that.
sit
I don't-
down there and
that's why
have
I don't
donuts
travel.
while you guys go down the wire.
Speaking of wire, they used to have the sports wire in Vegas back then. That's how you
right.
got the
That's how Bugsy-
racing results.
Bugsy
That's true.
started that at the Cortez.
He got it. He
got the wire
took
service.
over the whole thing.
He made him an offer.
Look at Keno Radio. Used to be the #1
That's
radio
right.
show
Remember
back
Martin
then.
Black? Remember
Martin
Martin
Black.
Black? Remember the every Friday night it was they had that ghost thing, or it was scary movie.
It was called Milk Bosnick.
Right.
Milk
Yeah,
Bosnick.
Milk Bosnick.
Spooksville. That's it.
Spooksville.
That's it.
Yeah.
Spooksville.
I played
man.
basketball with him at the old YMCA over there down at,
Yeah.
off of
Remember the old
Bonanza and
days.
in that street. What is it, First Street or Second,
yeah.
Third, or whatever?
Well,
In between the
that's-
Fremont and the
that's-
Horseshoe.
That's
Yeah, you
that's
talk-
Second Street, isn't
Is
it?
that Second Street?
Is
I
that
don't know,
Sec-
but it's one of them streets. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But Milk Bosnick, and then Gus Dufresne
Gus
used to be
Dufresne. Yeah,
our
Gus.
neighbor. Old Gus, he was great.
He
What a
hosted
gentleman.
TV and a little radio. Yeah.
What about Jack Cogan?
Yeah.
Jack Hogan? He came later though.
He did
Yeah,
come.
he took over after Gus Dufresne.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But
Jack Hogan.
there was some real class guys. That, with the 3 stations you had, you only had
Yeah.
3 choices.
Remember
right?
G.L. Vaux?
Yeah,
Remember?
G.L. Vitto.
Oh,
Yeah,
G.L.
Ron
Vitto.
Vitto.
Ron
Yeah.
Vitto,
I
G.L.
dealt
and
to
Ron.
G.L. quite a few times.
Yeah,
Yeah, he used to go to
He
the
was
Silver
out there.
Slipper. Remember when he used to have boxing upstairs, the Silver Slipper?
Sure, boxing.
We
every
used to
week.
go there every week, and GL was in. He'd always be there.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'd owe some people money. And in them days, if they'd walk right up to you, they didn't care who was around, and say, "Hey, man, And I remember as a kid we were in there, and the guy started beating him up, man. And my dad said that he probably owes the guy something, He was always getting beat up, I'm thinking.
Yeah, he
this guy
took the
needs to learn
blunt
how
of
to pay
things,
his
that's
bills,
for sure.
huh?
He took the blunt of a lot of
He
stuff.
sure did, man.
But he kept
He hung
hosting
in
them
there.
shows.
That's right, he
The
hung in there.
Castaways. He did the Castaways show there.
Yeah, I dealt to GL quite a few times.
Yeah.
He was quite interesting.
His brother was more of a
Yeah, Ron. Yeah, he was more.
Radio guy.
He was more relaxed.
Well, Ron
was on
was
TV.
had it more together than
yeah, Ron had himself together real well.
Yeah.
GL he's just one of the many characters that made up
That made this town.
the time at that time.
right.
I mean, there was all kinds of people back then. I remember there was a guy, his name was Sarge. He had one leg. He had been in the war.
Don't start with that one-legged shit.
I'm not
man.
going acrobatic on you, okay? So
Tell me this guy was
Sarge,
a biker. I
when
will
he'd
kill you.
start rolling the dice, because he was from Atlanta, so old Sarge would get the dice. He'd get a wind up that it looked like Burt Blyleven almost. I'm telling you, a little sidearm action up and down, and then he'd throw the dice. He goes, "If there ain't a 6, there ain't a dog in Georgia." I'll never forget it because he said it a million times.
You know
A
what's starting to
mustache
come to
in
my
Mexico.
attention?
A mustache in Mexico. You got to have one if you want to go into the country.
You know what's starting to come to my attention, Patton?
Yeah.
This guy knows a lot of people with limbs missing. What is it with one guy with the arm, one guy with the leg? Huh?
Hey, have you ever
What is
heard
that?
of the guy named Tyrone? The guy that had the
Tyrone
had
Power.
hot pants and the roller skates down
You
Fremont
be some
Street?
weird people, man. What is
Yeah,
that?
he was a general out there at Nellis.
He was a general?
Yeah, he got a little messed up in
No
the
wonder we're
Korean
in
War.
trouble.
Got out. They ended up killing him. They robbed him downtown. He had money, and he used to
Who
give
killed?
everybody the peace signs, roller
I
skating
think I
downtown.
remember that.
So he couldn't skate through
No.
through that episode.
No,
was
no, they
enough.
caught him in the
Enough was
alley
enough.
and beat him up.
the miniskirt
Killed
did
him.
it. Huh?
So
Well,
that ended his career.
you think it was a miniskirt that
He
gave
tried
him
to
away?
charge.
Yeah,
He
it
tried to
was,
charge somebody.
Could have been.
Killed him.
It was a red one. I mean, he was prettied up.
Was he on a recon mission by any chance?
Well, he got
Mission
reconned.
He was on
Mission
maneuvers.
Impossible. He was probably a CIA undercover.
Yeah, you never know. downtown.
General. I think
Never
some of
know.
our generals are that way now.
Yeah. Well, we definitely had the characters downtown, though.
Oh, we certainly
Really?
did. We had Black Bart. There was a guy named Black Bart. Obviously,
remember Black Bart.
He used to
got-
wear a black hat and had a mustache, and he used to do that skull or whatever, and it'd always be coming between that dirty mustache. And
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I hated it.
You know who it is now? The Duke of Fremont, he's called. He
Duke of
deals in silver and gold and jewelry and stuff. And every time he comes into our joint, he stops and talks to me. He decks out like a mobster, big time, like everything. He's to the max dressed,
Huh.
trim, nice looking. He always talks to me. People say, "Why does that guy always talk to you?" We do business sometimes, He's gold and silver,
Huh. I don't think
He's a
I know
trader.
him.
That's what he does. He holds these shows at these gun shows and stuff.
that's,
You'll know him if you go in there.
No,
I got
but-
his card.
But I remember a guy back when I was a busboy at the Dunes in '67, Sammy Angel. He'd always
Yeah,
carry
I know
around a
Sammy
case,
Angel.
and he had
Jewelry,
all of his
jewelry.
jewelry and
Yeah.
And
watches and
my dad said, "Be careful," because he said a lot of it isn't. He said a lot of it isn't going to last very long, and it'd all be shiny. I remember getting a watch, and the next day it went boing, and it was.
Are you
That'd turn your arm green.
Yeah.
So it turned my I said I thought I had
So what's with
gangrene.
that,
I went to the
man?
doctor. He said, "No, just take the watch off, kid."
Shit, yeah.
Buy a pair of shoes and blow out the soles every day.
I'll blow out the soles. Oh my goodness, trying to make a heel out of you, huh?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. But Sam Angel, he'd say, "Well, you know what? Sometimes when the factory they're a little defect." I said, "Yeah, my dad said you got a lot of defects." So he'd make it up to me, give me another one, and I'd take these what I thought looked classy, but they're really not.
Yeah, that's
But you know what?
Not too
what
much.
got me the most about downtown? A lot of them bosses, shift bosses, and pit bosses, they stayed downtown. They never wanted to go out on
They
the
didn't have
strip
no
for some
choice.
reason.
Sometimes
could
they
have
didn't have no
been,
choice.
but-
Sometimes they were part owners. They had points in it. I had a boss at the El Cortez who was a dealer, but he had points in the joint. I mean, the guy would sweat the money more than the. I used to think, man, what's with you? You know, you act like this is your money. You know,
He
he
was.
sweating that
He
10-cent
probably was.
roulette. And the one guy said, well, you know what? It is part of his. He's got a point or two in here, you know. And he was a pretty nice guy. He passed away. I hope he's resting in peace. He was a rough boss. His name was Joe Cassell from New York, a little Italian guy. And I know that him with the owner, they had something. You know what I mean? He had hidden points in the joint or something. And but he'd always invite the single guys to his house for Thanksgiving. He was a nice guy that way. I was married, so he never really, I spent it with my own family, but he was always good with the guys that didn't have anywhere to go. He was always thoughtful that way.
That's
but when
one
you
thing
were
that,
blowing his
yeah.
money, he got mad. When you were blowing his money, he didn't like it.
Well, most of them were that way.
Yeah, Pat, he sweat that money, man. The 10-cent rule
They
was
all
all
sweat
over
that
you.
money.
And he
But
was a dealer.
They were nice to you, like you said.
Right.
If you had a family,
That's
they
right.
made sure you were
You know
off
what?
for
Yeah, that's
Christmas,
right.
Thanksgiving to be with your
You know, when
family.
we first come out here, they had party lines. Remember them?
No,
party
sure.
lines. And my father couldn't even get a phone. He had to call the man at the Stardust. And this is how much juice they had. Yale Cohen called the phone company up and said, get this guy a phone. I mean, because they need to call him to work and stuff. So they made sure he had a phone. You know what I mean? Everything was through. And I always remember picking that phone up and hearing somebody else talking, you know. It was like a party.
Oh,
line.
yeah.
It
You
was
just
a
sit
party
there and
line.
listen for a little while.
Right, but you had to have stuff. You had to know people to get your electric. You had to know people to do almost anything at the beginning here. You know, I mean, we stayed with one ex-guy from back there that helped my dad when we first come out here. You know, we were kids and stayed with them the first 3 months till he opened the dust and got together. And them were the good times, man.
No, they were
Them
good times back
They're
then.
good people. You know, they help us and they help each other. You know,
Just-
maybe it should be more like that now.
Well, you just had to, watch your P's and Q's. That's
Just
all.
keep your mouth shut.
They wanted to make their money, and
At peace. They want to make it quietly.
and they let you earn, but they didn't
That's
want
right.
you to get too greedy either,
That's right.
because they knew about greediness, and greediness
right.
in their business is a short-term lifespan.
That's right.
Well,
Right.
back then it was head down, butt up.
That's right.
That's just
Dummy
the way
up
it
and
was.
deal. Remember
Dummy
that
up
saying?
and deal.
Bill? Dummy up and deal.
You know, just you're spending your year downtown, you're going to do it their
That's
way.
right.
And just dummy up and deal.
That's part of the lesson.
You know,
Learning
head
to
down,
listen.
butt up, whatever.
I stayed downtown 4 years, almost a year at the Fremont, and then when Murray Ehrenberg, who had been working for the owners of the Dunes, was also a good friend of my dad's, became Steve Wynn's first casino manager in '73 towards the end of the year. And I was a little fed up with them giving me the runaround. I know they wanted to get zooked to put you on the game because Fremont was table for table.
Well,
so
what's a zook?
a zook is a tip.
Oh,
Or it could
how
be
about that?
it could be a handoff. It could be greasing someone's palm. There's all kinds of ways. So this guy that ran the school and all that, guys I had found out were giving him some money, zooking him, and of course they were getting the spots, and I was getting 2 or 3 hours, and then you got to come out now, go back to Schilling. So I went to the Golden Nugget and wore that pink cowboy shirt.
Wow.
That's one lesson I learned in this town. I didn't learn it till late. You can't be a lone wolf, man.
You can't be a lone wolf.
Well, you can, but I don't know.
Well, on that note,
You got to.
we're going to take a break.
I'm going to take a small break. We'll be back shortly. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.
Now let's return to the Vegas Nights.
Hello, you're back with the Vegas Nights Tells. Benny Baccarat, myself, Danny Craps, and Jimmy Bags. We're talking a little bit about downtown, having a little bit of fun with this. And it's been a ride downtown. I mean, we can go into so many stories about downtown. You know, just like, when they send you out for a chip rack, or a stick rack or a wheel crank and all that. We've all been through it.
Well, tell them what when they send you out for they sent me out for the wheel crank. I had to go to, I was at the Fremont before I went to the Golden Nugget, and they sent me to the Horseshoe, and everyone was going along with the gag because they knew they sent out certain people to go out. And finally, I come back, I said, I can't find any wheel crank, and they all started laughing.
Oh, they're all laughing.
Tell them about the wheel crank joke there.
Well, the wheel crank, it's the same thing as, the roulette wheel. It's what they want. They tell you to go get the crank from, like, the Mint or wherever. It's what they do. When you leave to go out, they would call over and say, hey, we're sending this kid over to get the wheel crank.
Play along.
So, yeah, play along with them. So you go over there and you ask them, hey, do you have a wheel crank? Well, they all, we just loaned that over to, the Las Vegas club. So go over to Las Vegas. So you'd take off and go over there. Well, you'd spend 4 hours going from joint to joint to joint, thinking that you're going to pick up this wheel crank and end up coming back. And, then, of course, the joke's on you. But it turned out the joke was on them with me. I was already in tune. My family already let me know about that. So.
Oh, they did? Well, I came back cranky.
Yeah.
I just go home, come back 6 hours later, say, hey, man, you know what? I couldn't find it.
I went next door and had a few drinks, went home, took a nap, then came.
I was never good at Easter egg hunts, too. I never got the golden egg.
No, me neither.
No. And come back, pick up my $4 or $5 that night, and then went back home.
We used to make $13 a night at the El Cortez, man. We had a $30 a night once and had a party. We thought we scored, man.
Oh, that's a big score.
Yeah.
For downtown, it was a big score.
We used to work hard.
Did you guys get some marshmallows and make s'mores?
No, we didn't do that. We had a few drinks.
I think my score was $17 or $18.
Yeah.
I made was my score.
That was unbelievable.
That was huge.
I had one opportunity. They had missed 2 or 3 dealers at the Fremont. I'd been working there 6 months, so I was starting to get the handle of at least going around the layout, at least being able to pay the $12 each 6 and 8, and actually press it up $6 to go to 18. I was already there. It's when the guy threw you when he wanted to go to 30.
94 inside.
Easy. Let me take my aspirin first.
Sure. And then you take a break. You're on there for an hour. You take a break. Now you go eat. You got to go about 10-minute walk to get to go eat. So you had about 3 minutes to eat, and then you had to get back up on the floor.
And the same guy's there.
Yeah.
And you have to put up with him again.
Oh, yeah. He's right back up there.
You had to learn to eat so fast that in today's world, you should be a hot dog eating champion right now.
Yeah,
well, you know what? It's a lifelong habit.
Well, relish the thought.
Yeah. I mean, you shovel it in, that's for sure.
Right. Yeah, you don't. You end up with angina if anybody
say,
knows what angina is.
Yeah. Why do you eat so fast? I said, because I had to do it in 20 minutes, man.
It's funny how it carries over if you're not conscious of it and you go out to eat.
Yeah, that's right. That's what I'm saying.
Or if you're eating somewhere, you stop somewhere by yourself, or you're eating like, I got to go back. I got to go back for my break. I only got 20 minutes.
You got 20 minutes, and it takes you 10 minutes to get there.
And you're so conditioned.
Well, you know what? I used to clear my hands when I got off the dinner table. When I first broke in, my mom used to say, why do you do that when you get up? And I went, I don't know, I guess it's just a habit. My dad used to laugh.
Sure.
Because he knew what it was about.
You had
but
to
Mom used to
your
go,
hands.
what is that? I mean, what are you trying to impress us that you're a dealer? And I went, Mom.
What was it about clapping your hands? Why
Well,
did you have to do
they
that?
want to make sure your hands are clear, that you don't have anything in them, checks, whatever, to go to the belt. We used to call it the sub. And another thing, you know what they do now? These dealers now, they tuck in their shirt and go to their pants, and then when they come out, they clear their hands. I said, wait a minute. I think you got something backwards here. You clear your hands before you go to your pants, not after. The act is over after.
No, well,
So next time I see you do it, I'm going to take you in the office and search you.
Sounds to me like a play out of Othello.
Yeah, it's a play out of something.
Because that
well,
fellow
what
was
play out of the other. In the
what
old
was the
days, if
apron
that play-
for?
That's
Everybody had an apron. What was the
to
apron
cover
for?
your pockets.
Cover your pockets.
That's a
Keep you
Jeopardy
from going
question
in
I
there,
got.
Sure.
I didn't have
That's
to
the only one I
Riviera. They
got,
used to give us vest. And I said, what's the vest for? To see how much money we can get in it? They used to give you vests.
Well, that's what they call vested interest.
That's right.
Vested
You know?
interest.
Just to keep it in a financial equation.
Yeah. But I don't even know if they have aprons anymore, do they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they still got aprons in some places. I hear that they don't have aprons at the Wynn.
Pat,
the
let me put
there.
it this way. They couldn't catch an elephant. They couldn't track an elephant in a foot of snow.
In a foot of
Think
snow?
about that one.
Wow, that's
How good of a detective must you be to track an elephant in a foot of snow?
First person I'd call
That's
is
about
the-
how much they see.
I'd call Inspector Clouseau immediately.
Really. They need Inspector something.
yeah, it's
Let me tell you something. What do you put to catch somebody? What do you do if you say you own a store and you got somebody thieving in there? Who do you want to catch that thief as another thief? I mean, you have to get somebody that knows what that guy's doing to kind of go.
well,
there.
they used to hire them.
That's
thieves.
right. There used to be all thieves in that eye. There was all thieves up there that knew more than you.
That's true.
In that eye. Now
They knew what they were looking for.
I don't think sometimes now they take security or desk clerks and put them up there. I mean, I don't get
Well,
it. It's a computer thing.
Well, they rely on high tech now. They rely
exactly.
on all of that technology and, to zoom in or
That's right.
or to,
Stop, back up.
whatever game might be in question, or they have a question about how the player's playing 21. Is he counting? Is the dealer aware of what he's doing, or is the dealer in la
No,
land?
the dealer doesn't. Nowadays, the dealer's not aware of card counters. Me, I still know them because I used to do one. I used to be one. I mean, I can tell when I'm getting set up for the count. I had it the other day, and I went to the boss with it, and he didn't even hear it. I mean, I know teams, and MIT teams, and them. Remember them counters and stuff?
Sure, I do.
I mean, I can spot counters. There ain't much about 21 I don't know about on either side.
That's why Jimmy
Yeah.
Bags, they can't pull the bags over his
Put the
eyes.
bag, I'd pick it off, baby. You want to hustle me? I'm in, or you ain't. It happening. I ain't in. You ain't happening. I get a piece.
It's just like Benny Baccarat, one of the finest scrap dealers I
That's
know.
right.
You
Unless some jerk pull a move on you with not for nothing, ain't happening.
But
you can stop
back
it.
then there was all kinds of people that were trying to scam, and you had to be aware of it. There was these
Sure.
guys had been around forever. They'd bring up these people to the game, and try to show them the game and fleece them. They were hustlers. You might run into them in the street, and he says, "Hey, look, I got a formula. You could win at craps. You
Yeah.
invest 500, we'll make 5,000. I'll show you how to do it." And so he's hustling a guy, and if the dice start to pass, he starts to swing with a little bit of the action. The guy doesn't know what's going
Let
on.
me tell you, when I was a kid, guys used to come to my house in Cincinnati and would show us tricks that we were kids. We thought they were tricks, like switching the dice when you roll them, dealing a second card, blah, 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 blah. All these tricks, we were fascinated with these people, Come to find out, they're all railroad guys. I mean, they're guys that they rob people. I mean, they're cheats. So when you come to Vegas and you see things, you kind of got a heads up to wait a minute, this guy's a card dabber. This guy's a boom, boom, boom. You know it. It seems like it's an instinct to you. Well, a lot of them nowadays aren't.
After watching it, is
Yeah,
easy
to pick it up.
on.
That's
It's
right.
like past posting. All
Exactly. Or you see one guy in a 21 game betting high money. You see them give the signal when the deck's rich, and then here he comes one guy with the big bet. Really,
It's amazing. Well, listen, I hope you enjoyed the show today.
We did.
Oh, we certainly did. Are you kidding?
Oh, yeah.
Jimmy Bags, you were on fire
I love
today.
it. I love
You were
this
on
show.
fire, Jimmy.
I love
That's
it.
right. And Suzanne, I just want to thank you for being there last night, talking to us, to everybody. That was,
Suzanne
very
Davis.
enlightening.
Enlightening. I had no idea that Mexicans were yo-yo champions. I'm telling you, it's opened up a whole new avenue for me.
So,
How about one trivia question today, guys? What do you think? One trivia
Well-
question. One trivia question.
All right, go ahead.
What caliber bullet was Bugsy Siegel killed with? Caliber bullet.
Yes, and we'll do that next week.
thank you for listening to the Vegas Knights Tales. Benny Baccarat, Danny Krebs, Jimmy Bags, out.
Vegas, baby. Vegas.
See you later, guys. Thank you.